What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction and back with some more Ace of Base. And we're going back to the 1995 album The Bridge. And the next tune is You and I. Admittedly, my expectation is that this will relate to more interpersonal, romantic, intimate sort of connections, you and I in that type of context. When I first saw it, I immediately thought of that, classic stereotypical line, we're not so different, you and I. So I suppose it could be that type of juxtaposition that, look, we're doing different things, but, maybe there's some similarity there, or maybe it is a direct contrast. It's, there's a chasm of difference between you and I. But as I said, my expectation is that it might relate to an interpersonal entanglement, whether that is ongoing, something of the past. Admittedly, whether it's in the past, the present, or, a potential relationship in the future, I would say, a number of their tunes have complicated emotions, people feeling upset or, like they can't fully enjoy something or appreciate something the way that they wanted to or the way they used to. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a romantic or intimate connection, but it's perhaps not in an ideal way. Let's find out. This is You and I by Ace of Base from their 1995 album The Bridge. That sort of gallop feel, but it's got some
You and I, don't care what people say. You and I are living day to day, never die. Our love's immortalized, our heart is set inside. You make me come alive.
I like that. The guitar. Yeah, I didn't remember it as we went into it. I do apologize, but once it started and once, especially got into the second minute or so, it's like, oh wait, that's right. This is one where I think a couple people suggested like maybe this was supposed to be a demo, like an early working version of the tune, and it was eventually meant to be sung in the lead by Lynn, but apparently for whatever reason the studio decided to put this version on there. Now, I don't think it sounds bad by any means. I would say it doesn't sound like their, internationally famous sound, that sort of moody synth reggae sound. It didn't really sound like the sort of driving tech trance of tech noir, or at least, the very early Ace of Base stuff. It sounded almost like, at least in parts, sort of like electro disco or something. Like it had a slightly different feel. Now that was mainly when it got big and bright, and I guess what was the chorus. And then again, the sections where it was a bit more stripped down, and especially the sections without the kick drum, the intro, and then there was an interlude a bit into the tune, maybe like halfway or so. That it was briefly the same way. The bass loop in those sections, it really had a like heavy vibrancy. I enjoyed that, making me think of 90s trance in that regard. So yeah, again, I get it. It's not the sound they're known for, certainly vocally, and maybe even, at least as the way it hit me in the moment, that it wasn't quite like their super early stuff that I've heard, but certainly not like the synth pop reggae sound that they're known for. So yeah, I enjoyed following that one sonically. Lyrically, it sounded like I was essentially wrong, but there was some lack of ideal conditions, meaning it sounds like between them it's great. It's like you and me, we're the perfect team and we'll take things day by day. But there was that line, something about like our backs are against the wall, and if that's the case, you're not in a perfect ideal situation. Now maybe you have this connection you can rely upon and you're gonna do whatever you can to fight through it together. But if your backs are against the wall, then that means whether it's materially or socially, or maybe in relation to each other, though it doesn't really sound like that things are not in an ideal way and certainly could be better and perhaps used to be better. So again, it was maybe not ideal, but not in the way I was thinking. So yeah, a cool tune, again, outside of what I would normally, or what I've now come to expect, although when I'm going through all these deep dives of groups that I really didn't know beyond a few tunes, it's not that I so much expect things, but the more you listen to, the more you get a sense of their different sonic approaches or alleyways, and eventually, you know on some level the range of sounds you might hear. So then when something is still outside that, it's like, oh wow, like, this is unlike this, unlike that. This is interesting. So yeah, enjoyed it. I still feel like perhaps the lady-led tunes in terms of the vocals are the real, where they should be going. And from what it sounds like, that was understood at the time. And again, some of the fans were saying that this is not their favorite tune. I get that. Maybe part of it is because it is a bit different sounding, notably in the vocals. But yeah, I still had fun with it. It's a dance tune. And as I said, the kick drum had some oomph to it. Even if it wasn't like one of those big flat hits, it was sort of that like, it almost sounds like the kick drum is rolling over like with every hit. So yeah, I enjoyed that as well. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.